Yeah.
And somewhere along the way, and I'm not sure if it's your parents, like everyone wants to say it's your parents, like all of us therapists and psychiatrists and stuff, like we're like, oh, it's your parents.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there was something around like your dad not being quite affectionate enough, or maybe your parents compared you. Did your parents compare you a lot with your sister?
Yeah, but not uh like explicitly. They wouldn't say it. Or maybe they didn't then. Maybe I just think that they did. But
No, I mean,
they
so interesting, right? Like how you're analyzing what you said. So let's not judge what you said. So how did you
okay.
feel growing up?
Uh my dad more so than my mom, but yeah, I think that they compared us a lot.
And how did you notice that?
Um I guess them just like expecting me to do well. Like my sister in elementary school, there were like normal classes and advanced math classes. I think that because my sister was always in the advanced ones, they expected me to be in those classes as well. My sister making varsity soccer freshman year, just like it expected me to do the same. Um, yeah, I guess that like sister set precedent, expecting me to reach that precedent.
And what was it like to not reach that precedent? I mean, the interesting thing is
I
I'm almost interpreting what you said is that you weren't in advanced math classes and you didn't end up in varsity soccer. Is that true?
That's about true. Yeah.
Yeah. How does it feel
Um,
to hear me say that explicitly?
well, it's factual. so
Sure.
so yeah, it doesn't bother me too much. But I don't know. Maybe at first, maybe it bothered me. Actually, yes. Okay, it did bother me at first. The first like big example that I have is this advanced math stuff, and I would like on my own study. I actually recently I did this YouTube video where I went through like old schoolwork and old pictures and stuff, and I found a letter that I wrote to a teacher. It's not in the video. I found a letter that I wrote to a teacher about like really wanting to be in advanced math, which is like not a thing that I mean, it's not like you submit a letter to be in advanced math. I like wrote a letter to my teacher for the following year saying like, "Can I please be in this class?" Which and this was in like 3rd or 4th grade or something.
Sure.
Um yeah, and I was never in it. So, um at
Tell
first I think it made me feel bad, and then later on in high school like when I didn't get into varsity soccer at that point it was just like a norm, so I think it probably became easier to deal with.
Oh, okay. Hold on a second.
Okay.
So, no, my friend, I think by the time you hit high school, it became chronic,
Mm,
right? So
right. Yeah.
now what we're dealing with is something that's chronic. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like your sense of being behind the curve, like now, in a sense, when you say it's become easier to deal with, not really. You've become better at dealing with something that at that point became fact.
Yeah.
So that's bad.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So, like, do you understand what I mean by that?
I don't really understand why it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I understand that you don't understand that. So, like, what I'm saying is that, like, you think that this is just the way that you are,
Yes.
right? So, like, I think that that's bad because I don't think you're that way.
Okay.
So I think you. So I think. So let's think through this, okay? Um, and is it okay that we're being a little bit more analytical instead of emotional?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
I don't mind.
Were you hoping to come in here and have like a cathartic, like, oh,
No.
okay, all right. So I'm gonna try to, because I think you've done a lot of that kind of stuff. I don't know why I believed that, but now it sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
So I want you to just think. So first, let's think about the 3rd grader who writes a letter to their math teacher to be in advanced math.
Yeah.
Let's talk about her. Like, what do you think a 3rd grader? How do you think that 3rd grader feels?
Well, it definitely wasn't because I liked math and I wanted to challenge myself.
Absolutely.
I have
Third
always hated
graders,
math.
3rd graders don't want to challenge themselves in any way.
Sure. Yeah. I've always hated math. when I was reading the letter, it felt like a really sad, like desperate attempt to find another way to get in because I knew that I wouldn't get in because of my test score.
Yep.
So
it is sad and desperate. What does that person feel
yeah.
about themselves?
Probably just that they're not smart enough.
Yeah. Right. They're not good enough.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
And that they have to put on makeup to fool people. They have to do something that is outside the norm of what normally, like normal kids get into math class by being smart. And normal people are pretty and they can put on makeup. And I'm sorry if I'm bludgeoning you with this.
No,
but
no,
I think
fine.
it's related. But like, normal people can put on makeup and look better, but like I'm fundamentally different, and so I have to go the extra mile to catch up and be normal.
Yeah.
Right? You start behind people. Is that how you feel about yourself?
Yep.
So can you see how like that's what the third grader feels about themselves, right? So like you kind of said, this runs deep. I completely agree. And then let's just pause and think about that for a second. What do you think about that third grader's beliefs? Do you think that those are accurate?
I mean, I wish that I could say no, but my answer is like, yeah. Because I know that according to I mean, if we're talking about the math class, like, I know that even if I don't know, I mean, I could have, but even if I were to like study harder or like really make an effort to test to get into that class, that I don't think I would have. So yeah, I mean, I think I was accurate in thinking that I needed to do more to try to get in.
I'm glad you're saying that, because this is where we get into a really, really tricky trap, which is that we want to be positive, right? What we should say is that, yeah, third grader, you can do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, you're not actually dumb. You don't actually have to work as hard. But like the truth is that, like, maybe, I mean, I don't think you're dumb. I mean, that was kind of an inflammatory statement, but I think it's good that you can recognize that you're not your sister. The big difference is that third grader you placed a value judgment on not being your sister.
Yeah.
You assumed that your sister was like objectively better than what you are. You assumed that being in advanced math is objectively better than not being in advanced math.
Yes.
What I would like to help you do, Maya, is to let go of that second part, the judgment, because I think you're accurate, right? Like, if you're not good at math and you're not going to go, like, if you're not going to study engineering at an Ivy League university, like, you shouldn't study, like, fuck that.
Right.
Be the person that you want to be. I think the tricky thing is that somewhere along the way you started judging yourself for being who you are. And you tried to be someone else. And then what happened is when high school came along, you sort of got so good at that it stopped being painful. You just sort of accepted it. You're smiling.
Yeah, no, it's just true.
What's true about it? Tell me, what are you thinking?
It's just what you're saying is accurate. I was resonating with it.
How so?
That that I had like tried to be something else, and then by the time I got to high school, it was I had just gotten used to doing that.
Yeah.